What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Cole Mize with ColeMizeStudios.com, where I strive to help you be a better rapper now. And today, I want to talk to you about a question that I've gotten asked a lot in the past and present, and that is, Cole, why are whack rappers getting famous? This is actually a pretty loaded question. It's not a simple one-size-fits-all, if you will. And I believe this question stems from several misconceptions. And one of those misconceptions is that fame equals success. The thing is that success means different things to different people because people have different value systems. So what may be successful to you, I may not view as successful. Okay, so for an example, you could look at someone like Tekashi 6ix9ine. And there's some people who would say he is very successful because he's ultra famous, the whole world knows about him. But at the same time, his future and where he's at right now in prison, I don't know. I don't know if you would consider that success. Or I don't know if I would consider that a success because to me, just me personally, Cole Mize, my definition of success is being able to do what you love for a living, and being balanced and healthy in all areas of your life, having healthy relationships, trying to be healthy yourself and taking care of yourself and just being, full around just a healthy person and being balanced in life. And I think balance is the key to life, so to me, fame doesn't mean success because, or you may even think of it from a financial point of view. You know what I'm saying? So you may say, okay, well, if a person makes a lot of money, then that person's successful. That may mean success to you. At the same time, someone like myself, I may see someone that is ultra, successful financially, but they neglect their family and their children to get that money, and therefore they don't have a relationship with their kids. So in one area they may be successful, but in another area they may be unsuccessful, if that makes sense. So anyway, success means different things to different people. And one more thing about this whole fame equals success thing, just because you're famous doesn't mean that you're gonna make a lot of money. There's plenty of people who are famous who have been screwed when it comes down to their contracts and their business agreements. For an example, there's an old school female group from back in the 90s called TLC. They sold over 65 million records, okay? And they were huge. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing their music playing back then. And one of their biggest hit songs was called Waterfalls. And at the height of their career, at the height of their fame, I mean, this is the second largest female group, I believe, next to Spice Girls. At the height of their career, each member was only bringing home about $15,000 a piece, and they were ultra famous. Okay, here's another misconception, that talent entitles you to success. That if you get really good at something, then you should be successful. It's like it's owed to you. Like I'm sure any of you out there, if have heard someone tell you, hopefully someone tell you, man, your music's so good, man, your stuff should be on the radio. Your stuff, you should have been made it, or man, like comments like that, like you should have, like, how come it hasn't happened yet? This is a big misconception because the music industry is an industry. It's a business. It's not a talent show. This isn't America's Got Talent. Just because you can spit bars don't necessarily mean someone's gonna put you on per se. In a lot of situations where people put you on, those people usually take advantage of you. Okay, it's all about the music industry and stuff. It's all about leverage. It's all about what do you own? What do you have control over? What are you bringing to the table? And in most cases, talent isn't enough. There's a lot of talented rappers out there. I know plenty of talented rappers you'll never hear. And it's because, once again, just because you're talented, just because you're good at something doesn't entitle you to success. You have to work your butt off just like everybody else. You could bake the best, most amazing cookies in the world, but that does no good if you never take your butt outside of your house and go out to the local city and pass out your cookies and let people try out them for free and so they can experience how good your cookies are. You have to be your own evangelist for your music. You have to be the person that goes out and builds awareness around you and your music. Because if not, no one will ever know about you. And the third misconception that's usually behind this question of why are these whack rappers getting famous is that some people feel like being lyrical as a rapper is all that matters. And I totally understand where they're coming from. And I've fallen in that same trap as well. I don't know if I would call it a trap, but that same maybe misconception as well. Because me growing up, I grew up in the 90s, right? So I grew up in the era of, the Tupacs and B.I.G. and just that era of hip hop, So at that point in time, it was all about having your own sound and, lyrics was very important. But at the same time, there were also, a lot of music that was coming out that wasn't super focused on the lyricism and stuff. And some of those songs were some of my favorite songs growing up as a kid. So, now the current topic is always, hey, what do you think about the current state of hip hop? That's been an ongoing question that's been asked since the beginning of time, because music is always evolving. Every genre of music is always evolving and changing. And so even when I was growing up in the 90s, there were like some of my favorite rap songs at the time. I didn't even realize it until, I got older that the people from the older generation was hating those songs, that were coming out. So for an example, in the early mid 90s, we had this kind of subgenre of hip hop called like booty bass music or bass music. And I remember this one song, I'll just kind of scat it, but it went like this. It went, get them up, them big old legs. I ain't too hard to beg. Ain't no shame in this game. Got a bit of time and I bet like Jane. Please, down now, please, down now, please, down now. Let me ride that, don't care. Let me ride that, don't. Like this, this was a huge hit song. Like you can look this stuff up. That was from a group called 12 Gauge, and it was called Donkey Butt. All right, this was a huge song. So that was like the equivalent of what, trap style music or mumble rap was when I was growing up. Like this isn't a new thing. This has been an ongoing thing. So you had, on one hand, you had your Tupacs, you know what I'm saying? You had your Biggies, you had your Jay-Z's, but on the other hand, you had this booty bass music that was coming out, and that stuff was popping. Okay, so it's been an ongoing conflict, as far as on one side, you had people who are trying to preserve the lyrical aspect of being an MC and a rapper. And then on the other side, you have people who are trying to do different things with the music. And what's important to understand when it comes to music is there's a market for everything. And you can think of music as almost like dishes, like that you would eat at a restaurant. Like there's a lot of different flavors, a lot of cuisines and stuff like that. There's your desserts, there's your appetizers, there's your main courses and stuff like that. Music's like that. Like every song doesn't have to be super lyrical. Every song doesn't have to be serious. Some songs can be funny. Some songs can be, not even so much about the lyrics, but it's more about the mood and the vibe and stuff like that. Like party songs and things of that nature. Songs that are more for like ambiance, to be played in the background, something you listen to at the gym when you're working out or whatever, there's different types of music for different situations and scenarios. And music is very much like fashion, there's trends. And typically the younger generation that's coming up now likes to rebel against the generations before them, and they want to be different. They want to have their own thing, and that's what's cool to them. And that's the same way it was when I was growing up, when you was growing up, and it's always going to most likely be like that, And we always typically feel like the music and the things that we grew up with is typically the best because it's that nostalgia, it's what we were exposed to. That's just how it is. Like you can, and this isn't just a hip hop thing. You can listen to people talk about rock and roll or even country music. And they'll say, oh man, this country music nowadays, or this rock and roll nowadays, man, it's not what it used to be. Back then, that's the best music when it came out, then. And once again, man, like music is like, flavors, man. There's a flavor for everybody, man. There's so many different types of music out there. And there's a market for everything, okay? That's a big, important point I have to make. There's a market for everything, for every type of music, whether you're into horrorcore rap and you're all about being gory and stuff like that, or if you're more on the spiritual side and religious side of hip hop, there's a big market for that. If you're more emo and dark or gothic, there's a market for that. You know what I'm saying? There's a market for everybody. So on one hand, you'll have people who's trying to preserve hip hop or try to preserve the genre they grew up on and loved it. And then you have other people who's trying to come along and they're trying to evolve it or try something new or try to push it forward and do something different with it. And that's okay. You know, nothing will ever always stay the same. Things are always changing, growing, evolving. So let's get back to the main question here. Why are whack rappers getting famous? It is simple as this: because there's a demand for rap music that's not so lyrical. And there are rappers out there who are meeting that demand by making that type of music and working their butts off to get their music in front of those people. It's as simple as supply and demand. Once again, there's a market for everything. So if people like a certain type of music, people are going to make that certain type of music. And those people are going to become fans of those people making that certain type of music. But it goes back, once again, just because you're making something that someone will potentially like, it does you or that person no good unless you do your due diligence to market and promote your music and get it out there in front of those people so they know about it. Once again, you can make the most, bake the most amazing cookies in the world, but it does you or no one else any good unless you get out there and share your cookies with the world. So with that being said, just make the music that you want to hear. There's a market for everything. Okay, so if you're a rapper, for example, who's more on the lyrical side, don't be threatened just because there's rappers out here who aren't lyrical, who aren't that skilled as MCs, that are still popping off. Don't let that discourage you from still making the music that you want to hear, because once again, there's a huge market for lyrical rappers. Huge, still to this day. While you have your Tekashi 6ix9ines and the likes, you also have your J. Coles. You know what I'm saying? You also got your Jay-Z's. You also got your Kendrick Lamars. You also got your Joyner Lucas and your Eminem. They're still popping off. You know what I'm saying? So don't let that discourage you. There is a market for everything. And with that being said, focus on making the music that you want to hear, but put a huge focus on getting your music out there. And this is a huge mystery for most people. Most people don't know how to do this, okay? And I'm gonna be making more videos about the marketing and promotion side of things. But until then, don't waste any time. Go check out my homegirl's channel, Wendy Day. She has a dope YouTube channel. She specializes in the music industry side of things, and she makes content for rappers just like you, up and coming rappers who need a little understanding, creative ideas, and just knowledge on how to build your own fan base and get your music out there. She is someone who's helped a lot of rappers get really good record deals. She's known as the Deal Lady. She actually was, working with Tupac a little bit right before he was taken away from us. She was instrumental in also helping Eminem get signed in that process. And she's also who got Cash Money their record deal. She's a pretty big deal, so if you don't know who she is, go follow her, watch as many of her videos as you can. I cannot emphasize how important it is for you to be up on the business side of things when it comes to your music, because once again, this is not a talent show. It doesn't matter how good you are, if you don't have that business mindset and strategy behind your music, you can't expect your music to ever get heard or for you to ever build a fan base. It's not something that's just gonna fall into your lap, okay? So be sure to check out Wendy Day's channel. You can click up there or there'll be a link in the description, one of the two. And if you're new to my channel, once again, my channel is all about teaching people how to rap and helping you be a better rapper right now. And to help you do that, I have a gift for you. It's an ebook that I wrote called The #1 Fundamental to Rapping. And so if you're new to rapping, or even if you've been rapping for some time, this is a great, easy read. You could read it all in one sitting in 15, 20 minutes. And it's gonna give you a good understanding of how rapping works. And it's gonna explain to you what I believe to be the #1 fundamental to rapping. I hope this video was helpful to you. Again, my name is Cole Mize with ColeMizeStudios.com. And remember, when it comes to rapping, there's no rules, there's only techniques. Peace.